welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, and Dismighty Hands, Quinty, Dismighty Beard, John, and an earful of Coroniko. What a great day. It is a Thursday. We're almost to the weekend, and I need one. The ant invasion continues. I ordered more bait. It's been very cold here. It's dived in temperature, so that all of them are being driven inside, I suspect. So yeah. Other than that, we're all right. I'm redoing my blurbs and my keywords for my books in preparation for relaunching Changing Genre. It's kind of fun, and I'm kind of horrified to see what my keywords actually were. Considering I set them like 3 years ago, my understanding of this stuff has gotten so much better. It's like, oops. Probably wasn't helping. Alright, where's my Orchid Purple? There it is. I got all my purple, but wait, where did my Brutal Purple go? Apparently I decided I didn't need it and I evicted it somewhere. Who knows? But we've got what we need. We have our Hydra Green, which we've been using for the skin. We've got our Blazing Forge to be our highlight. And we'll use Styx Purple and Orchid as our... I think we're using a combo of Styx and Orchid anyway, and that's why I just put away the Brutal Purple for our purples. Let's do more skin today. So I want my brown liner just for touch-ups, and then I want my Styx Purple thinned way down because I need it for shading. And then the other two stay at a fairly good consistency, 4:1, more or less. I know, right? Yeah, anteaters are adorable, Coroniko. It's just that I don't actually want... Oh, you will have family stuff on Saturday. All right. I may or may not stream on Saturday then, guys. It depends on my mood, like what we got going on. I do want to get more work in on Lion. So if I decide to do that privately or if I decide to stream, we'll see. But usually without my beautiful, wonderful Quinty mod, I'm somewhat hesitant to stream. Weird. Yeah, trash. Yeah, this had been a long time. If they sat for several years without being utilized, then yeah, they can certainly thicken. Interesting. Yeah, that shouldn't have happened in a year. Unless they froze. In the garage, that's potentially possible? Because in 1 year, these should be fine. Like, in 1 year, yeah, they had to have frozen or something, because that's the only thing I can think of that would cause that result. Because 1 year, they should be peachy. Like, my paints... I have paints that have been sitting in my closet for, like, 4 years now. And they're fine. Then I don't know what the heck happened, Trash, but that's really weird. I mean, maybe? Yeah, I guess if the heat was enough that they evaporated... It just seems so weird, though. I don't know. Without interacting with them, I can't tell you. Something would have had to happen, yeah, to evaporate, like, the fluid and to affect the vase. Yeah, weird. Maybe an evil wizard. Yeah, I think the spiders are an evil wizard. I think that's likely. Unless the velociraptors were in there. You know, pissed off that you hadn't been painting. Decided to, like, mess with your stuff. Velociraptors do that sometimes. That's why they need to be gainfully employed. Now you're just going back to it. With the evil spider wizard. I suppose that would be an alien evil spider wizard. Alright, so we got all our colors here. Let's get up on the screen the colors that we are using for this secondary color scheme, obviously. And I think, yeah, I'm going to keep that there. They keep that purple about there. I'm not going to add more red to it because I want it to go into shadows. So yes, this is a terrible thing. It's true. Board Velociraptor minds. So brown liner, sticks purple, Hydra green, which is a new 2-point art color. If you didn't have Hydra, you could use Troll Hide and add just a little bit of white to it, and it'd get you close. Blazing Forge, again, with this, you can use something like Fireball Orange or Sunrise Orange, and you can add a little white to it, probably actually quite a bit of white to it to make it this very light orange, very light orangey yellow. Alrighty. And then as stated, we're going to keep these two pretty thick. We're going to thin these two a bit. This one I'll probably keep thicker for lining, but 1, and then 1, 2, and then 1, and then 1. We'll see how it goes. These are 5 drops each, so it's 5 to 1. I decided to go a little on the thicker side. That's true. That's true. It is a perfect excuse for an all-in on 2.0. And no, you don't need an excuse, but it's nice to have one. There we go. Thinning the purple down a bit more. And then the liner will be at this level until I decide I need a thinner. Alright. And we're going to do a lot of wet blending. And when we're done with our wet blend and we want to layer, we'll thin our paint a bit more. I found out today that ants creep David out more than spiders. He is in on the militant spider or militant ant extermination project that I have going. Apparently, he is not nearly as bothered by spiders as I am, but apparently ants really creep him out. He's disgusted at our ant problem. So I ordered a bunch of ant traps this morning because I didn't want. The thing is, it's great when the pest exterminator guy comes, but I hate to say this, we have so many ants that they ate all the poison and more are coming. It's like, oh, food. It's like, you idiot ants. So, food, and it's really cold outside. And I forgot that little support mark there. There we go. Got it out. So it's nice to have the pest guy and all, but it's also not nice because it disrupts my whole day to have to wait for him and be ready to let him in and handle Kiki and all the rest. So I've decided to take matters in my own hands and order some ant traps from Amazon and use those, and if they don't work, then we'll have him come back, but I'm hoping. Yeah, there we go. Hey there, Kodiak. I'm going to get some white, too. I think I want to start highlighting a bit of the skin with more white. So I'm going to actually mix up some pure white, and I'm going to add some of my my Blazing Forge to it to make a really, really pale orange. Pretty much an off-white orange. There. And that one I do want to thin a bit. Oh, hold on. Kiki, enough! Kiki, enough! No. Shh, come here. Enough. Hey, no, come on. Kiki, I'm gonna shut you in here. Enough! Shove it. And settle down. Nobody wants to hear you, least of all me. Enough. It's enough. Settle. She's like, woof. Woof. I didn't want to be in here. I wanted to bark at all the things. Yeah, Keekers, we all wish we could bark at all the things. But we can't. We can't. Yay, Kodiak, you will have heat soon. That's great. It's just savage that you didn't have it. I'm actually going to have to thin down this off-white. Enough! Oh, yeah, and that's Bratty Girl. Hey, Bratty Girl, guess what? That doesn't work either. That doesn't work either. Nope. Settle. I should have known. Should have remembered that was her MO. Settle. You're stuck with Mama. Kiki's like... very, very bratty Bubba. She was bad yesterday. A very bad dog. Oh my god, Kodiak, that's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous that you've been out all that time. But I guess you're like... You're in Texas, aren't you? Or you're somewhere south? Ohio. Yeah, that's unforgivable. Like, what the heck? Like, I remember, the way I remember it is they used to rush to, like, repair heaters in the winter months because it was dangerous. Like, what the heck? Holy blazing cheesecakes. Like, seriously. Good girl. Yeah. Yeah, your sub has abandoned you. I'm sorry, Koro. Ah. So we're doing wet blending by setting up our light first here. If you set up your dark first, like I did up there, it's going to be more green with this combo. And if you set up your light first, it's going to be more orangey. And I want to take the green down a little bit. So I'm working it with the orange primary for a bit. Yeah, I like that a little better. Lemon, you've got to have a... For one thing, I don't know that there are any on-site applications open. Like, we have traditionally, in all my time working for Reaper, and I worked for Reaper as a part owner for about 17 years, the actual staff sculptor positions only opened up relatively recently. And they were both people who had already worked for Reaper in other departments that got hired. All of our other sculpting is worked freelance. If you are local to Texas, to Denton, then you may, want to start on the freelance end and maybe see if Ron is even looking for somebody. I mean, the most people who get hired at Reaper, to be very, very honest, have worked for us for a certain period of time and demonstrated that they have the work ethic and the, what we need from them. And then they end up going, like, Kevin was our master mold maker before he was staff sculptor. Daryl worked for me in the paint department for 10 years before he learned enough 3D sculpting on his own to be good enough to become a staff sculptor. So Reaper tends to bring in employees with skill sets, and like if you show yourself and that you're willing to work and you're really good, you work yourself up to having the set we need, then you tend to progress. But Reaper has had, I don't know how likely it is that you come in as as just a sculptor and they hire you as a sculptor. I think that you would need to work as a freelance sculptor first in order to get offered a job, and I don't even know then if you would, because honestly, I'm not sure the budget is there. To be very, very frank with you, I don't know. I'm not an owner anymore, and I don't. I'm not living in Texas anymore, so my knowledge base is only based on like how things used to be. But the best thing you can do is to get your portfolio together, to study Reaper's sculpts and like see the style that Ron likes, to execute on some sculpts, based on that, and then to try to contact Ron via email, ron@reapermini.com. It's real easy. Keep in mind that he is absolutely slammed because he's now our chief operating officer since we lost our CEO a few years ago. So he may not. You may have to repeatedly email him. You may need to wait for a while for a response each time. But yeah, I mean, it also helps if you start sharing your stuff, say, on our social media. If you share stuff, if you sculpt some stuff that looks awesome and you share it on Reaper's Facebook page or on Instagram or whatever and tag us, maybe somebody like John sees you and maybe then you get to be a known quantity, so you can kind of ask, hey, how do I contact Ron? I've been emailing him and I haven't gotten a response, stuff like that. It's wise to remember that Reaper is a very small company trying to do a lot of business, and so it's sometimes just slammed, honestly slammed for weeks at a time. Ron has a lot on his plate these days. The next best way to do it, honestly, is to come to ReaperCon. Come to ReaperCon with, able to show Ron what you've sculpted. You can usually chase Ron down. He's usually out on the floor. Show him your stuff, in person. Talk to him in person. And then maybe he, when you email him, he'll be waiting for your email. Yep. But the first step, honestly, is to sculpt some stuff that looks like it could belong in our catalog. That's always the first step. It's the first step with every, gaming company I know of, is already be at the level where we can use you. And then, then you have to figure out, okay, what's the best way to get my stuff in front of the people who matter? And that can change, right? That can change. But with Reaper, like I said, if you come to ReaperCon, that's over Labor Day weekend in Texas, in Denton, usually. That gives you an opportunity to talk to people up front. You get to meet the other sculptors with Reaper and talk to them. If they have a favorable opinion of you, then that's all to the good as well, because, a lot of our sculptors have been working for us for over 20 years. They're friends as well as colleagues, and having their endorsement is, another thing that helps or could help. I'm going to bring in some of my orchid purple on the knee to make that all rosy. But yeah, as I mentioned, if you're looking for an on-staff position, I'm not sure that one even exists. Usually Reaper or kind of organically grows when such things are required. Like I said, we take somebody for example, our current social media guy and stream writer, John, also 3D sculpts, for example, So probably, if John were interested, and if a position opened up, Reaper would want to deal with the known quantity. I think that's also something that a lot of companies do just because, it's risky to hire somebody you don't know. That's why it's good if you hang out on our social media, get to be a known voice in the community. I mean, Christine Van Patten is a great example, although she chose to go her own road, but she was sculpting some stuff for Reaper, especially in the beginning. She was not an on-staff sculptor, she was commission, sculpting one-off or two-off or three-off sculpts, But she was a community member who everybody knew. She was a painter, and then she put in a ton of work over the course of a year and really leveled up as a sculptor. And because people knew her and liked her, and Ron knew he could deal with her, he could work with her, he gave her a chance, and she sculpted a few things for us, and now she has her own company. So that's a great example of, being a known member of the community, working to level up, and then leveraging that into working for a company or even making your own thing. Everybody's road on this creative path is different. I speak as a creator myself. I mean, I'm a painter, known pretty much, known around the world, here and there. Not as famous as some. I always joke my husband is more famous than me, especially in Europe these days. But, and I'm also a writer. I make my living doing freelance work, which is a rarity. And whenever I look at any of my friends who also do this kind of gig, whether they're sculptors or painters or writers, everybody's journey has been very different. So, but the prerequisite is always get good. Get good at what you practice what you want to be good at, what you want to be employed in. Practice it, get it as good as you can. Take all sorts of feedback from everybody you can. If you can get small jobs working for small companies, in your field, or if you can, if you're a painter, going out and winning competitions, stuff like that, that can help a lot too. Go to if the gaming company has a convention, go to it, right? Talk to people. Those are never bad moves. Not ever. Yes, the Ron warp is worse than the space warp or the time warp. Yeah. That's the problem, and that is why it is so much easier to get hired by Reaper if you're looking for an actual in-person job. That's why it's so much easier if you are already working for Reaper in say, a production capacity, but you also sculpt, right? Or you also paint, or you also do whatever. Then Reaper already has you there, and then you just walk up to Ron and say, "Hey Ron, I've been working on my painting. What do you think?" That's the easiest way. But that takes a commitment, right? And you have to get hired by Reaper first. And there may not be any positions open, You may need to be patient. You may need to just work on your craft for a while. It depends on how much you really want to work for Reaper versus how much you really want to just get a sculpting job, right? Or a painting job or whatever. I mean, these are all the practical considerations of working in the industry. I'm going to put a lot more shadow underneath this leg since it's very buried down here. But yeah, a lot of gaming companies and miniatures companies don't have very many employees. They don't have a lot of resources. They don't have a lot of people who are, watching the email. And so that's why so many people just go freelance and do my mini factory or something like that. And that's not a bad thing to have on your resume. Hey, I put my stuff up on my mini factory, I do decently well, my stuff is well rated, people buy it, and I'm interested in working for a company, It's like I said, there are all sorts of roads. There are so many different roads you can take. That's what makes people frustrated, I think, is that they don't know which road is best, but there isn't a best road. There's just starting something and seeing if it works and then trying another thing. So I'm mostly going green down here since I want to go with the purple. Oh, wrong purple, Anne. Oh no, I wrong purpled. I totally wrong purpled. But that's okay. I can take my brush, get water in it, take it off. I went the red purple instead of my sticks purple. It was like, oh no. Hey, Laura. So yeah, I mean, working as a creative, very, very difficult. Definitely takes a lot of time and effort. Especially if you want to get hired on by somebody as opposed to doing your own thing. Very rewarding when you get it. Definitely not for the faint of heart. I work harder as a freelancer than I ever worked in any of my previous paying jobs. And there is definitely a higher stress level to it also. It's not for everybody. Alright, now I'm going to take my sticks purple, the correct purple. Start blocking in some purple down here. I did thin the sticks a lot. And I'm kind of feeling like that may have been a mistake, but we'll see. Yeah, as a creative, you're traveling down roads with no signs. Exactly. Or your signs are the signs may be there, but they may be tiny. Like for me, getting 12 pre-orders on my new book, only 12, but it was more than the 0 that I got the previous 2 times that I published, with a pre-order. So like, that's a sign. It's just a very small sign. And so you have to decide, like, if is it enough to keep you going, right? You need to find your motivation somewhere. And that's why I say just practice your craft, because getting better as a creative, getting better as an artist, as a writer, whatever, is its own reward to an extent. All right. So it can be a way to keep yourself going if seeing your own progress is a motivator to you. And that's another thing, right? You've got to figure out what motivates you, and you've got to figure out just kind of what your path's going to be, like what your strategy's going to be. What's your main goal is probably the best thing. I mean, I'm a goal motivated person. I know not everybody is. And if you've got a big goal, like get hired by Reaper Miniatures as their 3rd staff sculptor, you're going to have to break that goal down, right? It's not like I can just walk out and do this goal. There are steps up to that goal. Become familiar with Reaper's sculpting style. Execute on a couple of models that Reaper might want to buy, that kind of thing that Reaper does. Go to ReaperCon, talk to Ron, show him my stuff, see what kind of interest he has in it. And I mean, any of those like steps can close a door, right? You could walk up to Ron and show him your stuff, and he could be really non-committal and not into it. And maybe your style just isn't right for him. So that could close the door, So there's always risk in these things too, of course. Then you might have to revamp. And if your whole goal is to work for Reaper and not just to work, as a sculptor in the industry, then that's a little more dangerous, right? Your goal is more specific. Yeah, right. So we're getting that reddish color there on the knee, just like we have it up here on the knuckles. And everybody kind of executes on this stuff a little bit different, right? Everybody's motivation is a little bit different. The way that you put together a plan or don't. Like some people just vibe it because that's the way they are. That planning is not a strength of theirs. And so they just want to kind of wing it, and that works for them. So it also helps to know your strengths, to know if you're a strong planner, if to-do lists are your Bible, or if you can't follow a to-do list to save your soul. How easy do you find it to learn new things? Is that a strength of yours that you can lean into, or is it not? Are you good at making a plan? Even if you can't use a to-do list, are you good at making a plan? Like does planning give you energy? Does completing things give you energy, right? In which case that's a different strategy. And you always want to be on the side of sustainability and not burnout. So finding out the things or tactics that you can use that give you energy instead of taking it away. It's kind of key. Because there's so much burnout these days. So much. Just bringing back some of these little details with the purple on the knee here. Kind of lining in, and then I'll get the highlighting and shading going on. You can see that I'm very rough here still. Very rough with my blending. Obviously those two dragons were Kuroniko's motivation. They were looking around trying to find Kodiak, but they got the wrong state. Like, I always confuse Iowa and Ohio, so obviously the dragons also did. Obviously, if they could have found Kodiak, they could have at least, lit something large on fire in order to, like, warm up the house. But I don't know if that would have been an effective use of their motivation. Probably makes as many problems as it solves. So just putting in some more shadows here. I need to get that knee a little bit more red. Yeah, there were two dragons like flying around a farm in Iowa. Obviously, I thought that they were obviously looking for Ohio so that they could warm up your house, but maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, there we go. Dragons are starting fires, and that's why your state is slightly warmer. Hey, it's as good an explanation as anything. So I'm getting some more of that red in over here on the side. Want to make sure that I've got that red color. All around the knee. I thought those geese look weird. Gonna bring in my orange and green combo and get these little wrinkles down here a little bit. They got wiped out. Now the back of the leg here is hard because we've got a dark shadow falling under this cloth. So I'm going to use my green and purple combo again. Add in the back of the leg also, so the upside down part here. I'll start with green and then I'll bring the purple in. This combo of those two colors that kind of makes a really dark shadowy smudge color. Just kind of looking at how I want to do this. Probably want to bring in mostly orange on the top of the foot there. Again, if I don't want it to go too green, I want to bring in more orange out here. Well, we do have the shadow. There's a shadow here technically because this foot, it's underneath the leg, and so there's going to be a shadow right here. So I'll bring in my green up there. And blend it in, and then we'll bring our purple in a bit. Got my video filmed for the Patreon yesterday, but I don't know if I always like go into it and I'm always like, grr, that video didn't go well, because I'll be like choppy or something. Then I'll go and I'll actually do the editing and it'll turn out okay. So I'm going to edit it today and hopefully get it up. It's kind of basics of working with metallics. I actually talk about the different types of flakes and everything that are available now and what the uses of the different metallics are, kind of. Talk a little bit about how to get best results on different types of palettes. It's more of a basic. It's definitely a fundamentals video, but if you need a refresher on metallics, I'll be doing more detailed stuff on metallics over the next couple months, I think. It seemed like it was one of the last things I hadn't covered. So we're just kind of blending a little bit. It looks really rough at first when you're wet blending. I'll get there eventually, seriously, but right now I need to keep going on the basic stuff. I wanted to do some examples of different colors of dragons. But obviously I won't be able to do every color of dragon. So if I do one metallic dragon, I'll have to choose one kind. And if I do that, I'll likely do an NMM version and a metallics version. Just a little segment of a dragon to show you how to do it, to make it look good. But yeah, right now I'm still in the middle of, doing things like the mouth. I'm not sure what my topic will be this month. I have to look at the dragon and decide. Oh, teeth and claws, that's right. I wanted to do teeth and claws. I think I've covered my teeth and claw strategy pretty well in past videos, but I want to have it in the master class so it's there. So I'm taking the green and I'm kind of shading between the toes down there. I'm also going to line. So I'll take my liner. And I usually like to do claws and nails in liner color on monsters until I get to highlighting them. Just because I tend to like to bring bone color and claw color and horn color up from a dark shadow. I just think it looks really good. Yay, heat! Awesome, Kodiak. I'm so glad for you. It would be so stressful to me. Like, it's just like this anti-vision. It's like anything that disrupts like my life, that makes me focus on other than, my work and stuff that I'm trying to get done day to day, is just stressful to me. I don't know if this is the same for you, but man, I would be so frustrated at this point if I were in your shoes. So I'm getting some green in there, a little bit more orange to get blending in here. Oh, got a little brown line around there. Alrighty. And yeah, anything in the shadows, I'm just going to throw green in there, and then I'm going to throw purple over it. If we can't see it that great. or if there's going to be a dark shadow, I want to really double down on that shadow like I did up here on the chest. Let's go up a little bit. There we go. I hit the wall yesterday with my energy, probably because of the ant stress and the. I also just need to start like eating more carbs, I think. Now that I'm back to my full workout regimen. It's both awesome and not awesome. It's like, because I still want to stay like keep my calories lower, so I can keep losing weight, but I need to get more carbs. So I can't eat things like cakes and cookies. But I do need to probably eat a lot more fruit. And I don't want to eat too much gluten since I'm, or that kind of thing, because I'm gluten-free. Most of the time I'm gluten-free anyway. It's a challenge. Yeah, carbs. I mean, it is nice. I mean, I can make myself sweet potato fries. Those have, I make those with very little oil. And those are a great carb source for working out. So that makes me happy. I should probably just do a batch of them for lunch and save them in the fridge. I'm putting dark hair on this guy, I think, because I want a shadow, I think. I'm not sure though. Up against this purple, depends on how light the purple comes out. I mean, I don't want to really put white hair down here, though, because as you can see, it would pull a lot of attention. So I think it is going to go black, and I'm just going to lighten up the purple by fading it so that the black hair still has enough contrast. But the head itself is also distracting. I'm glad it's kind of down and turned down, because otherwise a face is extremely distracting for us as humans. So it's easier for it to blend in. Yeah, I need to go and get a lot of mandarins today. They've been my post-lunch dessert lately. Yeah, chocolate covered peanuts, and like peanut M&Ms is something I was using during my runs. But when you look at the peanut M&Ms, they actually have a ton of fat in them in addition to carbs, and that's like not ideal. It turns out that when you're running, if you have food that's got too much fat in it, fat slows digestion. So it's great for like making you feel full, which is good for weight loss. You don't want to go overboard on it, but it does work. But with running, slowing down your digestion is not what you want, and it can actually cause gastric upset. So that means I'm gonna like go away from the M&Ms and more toward something that is. That's why running gels are usually almost all like carbs and not fat. So yeah, so I'm trying to I need to get my race food dialed in. Some of the sports companies make stroop waffles for running that are like less fat, more just sugary goodness. But I don't want to throw a ton of sugar at my system either. So yeah, I got to figure it out. I think I might end up making some homemade energy bars and using that. That lets me control the ingredients. Yeah, stroop waffles are awesome. I just have to keep experimenting till I find the things that work best for me. But I hate, like, yesterday it was definitely proof that it's not the amount I'm eating, it's like the number of carbs I'm eating. I need more. Because I was actually about 2,000 calories yesterday, which is a lot more than I was running before. And I was getting cravings. So. But I have to be careful with fruits because of the FODMAP stuff, so with the IBS. Oranges are one of the better ones. So the little mandarins are good. And in season here right now. There we go. So just lightening up the top of that leg. Yeah, I don't want too much sugar. Because there are downsides to it too. But I do get to eat more sugar than, most people probably need to eat. Just because when you're running, the sugar gets used for fuel right away. It doesn't get put on your hips and your stomach. But I don't know. There's just not enough research on what it does to your microbiome and stuff, and I'm not convinced that sugar is the way. I think I'd rather try to throw some whole fruit in there. Yeah, sugar, mandarins in the wintertime. Yeah. Well, you don't want to eat them when they're out of season anyway. You don't want to eat them when they're being imported from Mexico or whatever, in my opinion. But yeah, it's mandarin season here. We got some really good, super fresh ones. Here in California, actually we're pretty spoiled because they're a local crop as well. So when they come to our little local grocery store, they still have stems and leaves. There's just a pile of fruit there with stems and leaves and stuff. Fresh picked. Oh yeah, I feel it, Kuro. Yeah, that's the problem, right? When you're working out, but then the weather hits and but you're accustomed to eating the way you eat, and then then you start as you say, you start solidifying. I feel that. I feel it. But yeah, I did all my runs this week. I did my strides workout yesterday. I was so tired. I was just exhausted, and I hate that feeling. It's and that's where I was getting frustrated. I'm just I have to do something about the carb situation because I should have had the energy for that run. Yeah, it's one of the great cheaty things about living in California. One of the things I most like is all the fresh fruit and produce because we grow so much in this state. But you can't beat the meat prices in Texas. Because that's a main Texas export, beef and chicken and stuff. I used to get steak for so inexpensive in Texas. It was ridiculous. I miss those prices. Alright, we're going to stick some of the sticks purple back here in that inside of the leg there. Gonna get a nice dark shadow of it. You can kind of see that purple coming in right there. And the purple is really what creates that kind of really dark shadow feeling. So I would definitely want to put it everywhere. That's what gives you the dramatic lighting effect here, guys, is putting in those dark shadows. But yeah, running is hard enough. I just hate it when it feels really bad. And I know that if I would have done something different nutritionally, I would be feeling fine. This is it. I'm just gonna figure it out. But yeah, I think a lot of my life coming up is fruit, sweet potatoes, and potatoes. I saved half of my twice baked potato from last night so that I could eat it after CrossFit tonight. It is frustrating because of the FODMAPs not to be able to eat things like bananas. Pineapple's still okay though. So again, I'm going to take my purple and I'm going to start putting a shadow down here on the side of the foot. We haven't glued this guy in. He's just blue stuffed. So eventually we'll add that. But for now, I want to get that shadow in there. But yeah, I've been so bad most of my life about not eating whole fruit, but I think it's time to rejigger that attitude. I think my body's just gonna need it. Which is not to say that I'm not gonna, eat chocolate, because, chocolate. Nothing is gonna make me give up chocolate, guys. I just don't eat a ton of it. Yeah, I like my walking pad too. That helps a lot when the weather gets really crappy. Although after I went running in the pouring rain the other day and I didn't die, maybe no weather is too crappy now. Although I definitely ran when it was raining Saturday. I definitely did my long run here in the neighborhood in case it got really bad. I could escape easier. There we go. Darker nails. Yeah, the walking pad was a good buy. Alrighty. Doing a little more green up at the top of the foot there. One thing is, if I want my highlights to show up, I do need to bring in that green. The orange is really light, so left to its own devices, the orange is not going to show highlights very well. So it does need to get some green in there. And I'm going to be a little more precise now. Bringing a little bit of green in. Wet blending, still keeping it on the orangier side, but a little darker so that I can add the highlights. And then I gotta still bring in that purple shadow right here on top of this foot. Yeah, that makes sense for Nico. Wait, it's called Loki, yes. Hey, Bubba. What's up? Do you want me to let you out now that you're being a good girl? Can you be a good girl for the next half an hour? What do you guys want to bet if I let her out she starts barking again? You know, I'm waiting for ant traps, Kiki, and that's going to involve an Amazon guy. And that Amazon guy is someone you're going to want to bark at. Yes, happy Thursday indeed. Yeah, not much of a bet. That's why she's trapped in here with me, looking at me disgruntledly every once in a while. Yeah, Keekers? Are you disgruntled? Oh, good girl. She's like, I don't care about being a good girl. I want to go out and bark at the Amazon guy. Bring this down a bit more. That shadow. And I'm going to bring it in a bit more up here. I probably need to refill my bird food. I think it's run out. I got a new bird, Kuro. I was going to look up what it was. I think he was a wren of some sort. He was a really pretty kind of blue-gray color with a white face and a white underbelly. Hold on, let me see if I can find him really quick. If I search. Let's see. I think. Oh yeah, this guy looks like. No, what's he? No, totally not. He might have had more white, very defined white. I'm looking for a wren with really defined white. Let me see here. I'm just gonna go and search. Gray wren with white face. Oh, maybe he was a white-headed wren. Except he had a cap of sorts. Man, I just can't find him. I'm gonna have to do some serious searches. Because I'm getting Bewick's wrens. I have them all over the place, but this guy was definitely different. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's not a wren. Yeah, it's not a white-headed wren either. Weird. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look a little bit more. Maybe? I'll just type in bird with white face. Yeah, maybe you're right and I should be looking under nuthatch. Oh, gnatcatcher. Weird. Oh, there he is! There he is! Hey, enough! It's just a fucking bird! Pardon me. F-bomb. This guy. This guy was at my bird feeder. Oh, orange cardinal. That's really cool, Trash. Okay, so now what is this guy? I thought it might be a woodpecker at first. No, it is a nuthatch. White-breasted nuthatch. Okay, cool. Yeah, white-breasted nuthatch. This was him. It was really, really strikingly, defined. The white was. That's how I noticed him. I thought he might be a wren just because that long beak, but yeah. Yeah, I know. No, she thought there was somebody here, and it wasn't. It was just a bird picture. Okay, can you settle? Can you settle? Do you want to come up and say hi to the stream? Do you want to come up and say hi? Do you want to come up and say hi? You can come up and say hi. Nope. Nope, too much stuff on the floor, Mom. I haven't looked at what Benito sent me recently. Here, have that. There, do you want to come up? No, she's still sulking. She's still sulking that I've closed her in here with me. Yeah, like usually they're a Midwestern bird, it looks like, but I saw one at my bird feeder way out here, Derek. He was here the last couple days. Also, hi Derek, it's been a while. Hope you had a good holiday. But yes, sorry for the F-bomb stream. Unscheduled F-bomb, and it's not even fucking Friday. Kiki's just been, like, hair-triggered the last couple days. Yeah, I haven't gotten any new ones in a while. Probably because I've been very sporadic about food for... I try not to get them too dependent on me, so I go a few days usually before I refill the feeder. F it, January. Apparently. I've certainly been dropping enough of them lately. My white is not strong enough. I'm very annoyed at it. I'm going to drop more white into it. F it 2026. I hope not. I was hoping 2026 would be awesome. I was hoping it would not be F it 2026. Hey, Roger. I'm struggling with this foot, seriously. It's a very annoying foot. It's very much making me grope at it. Bring in a little bit of this purple down here, get a little bit more color variation. Oh, Kuro doesn't want that much heat. That would make Kuro melt. But yeah, we're definitely having a cold spell up here. Maybe it'll make it down to you, Twisted Oma. It's weird that you're having a heat wave like that. That's cool. That's cool, Cornico. Snow chaos. Well, we're just saying that Twisted Oma is having like 80 degrees Fahrenheit weather, high 80s, since New Year's, which is crazy hot for Texas this time of year. This is why the trees in Texas get so confused, guys. It's why it seemed I always felt like I never had a decent fall for the last several years I was in Texas because the temperatures would swing so extremely that like the trees would never the leaves would never change color. They'd just like get like cold burned and drop off, and then it would be like 80 2 weeks later. It's just weird. Do not recommend. I'm excited to start my new ads for my books, since I'm changing my blurbs and my metadata. Excited to see what happens. Might take a while for the system to get unconfused about my books though, since I'm changing so much. That's alright. Some of my keywords were hot trash, I'll tell you that. Hopefully having new and improved keywords means that more people who actually want to read my books will find my books. Oh, another foot of snow in New Orleans. Yes, there we go. You hear that, Quindy? Trash is going to bring more snow. There. Using my white to get a little bit. Snowed into your driveway and not out of it. Yeah, for sure, Richard. Just more evidence that the planet is angry at us. It's like, here, have some weird weather, humans. It really is turgid. I mean, I remember, after living in Wisconsin for many, many years, you were a little bit more north than I was, though. But down where we were, and even in Madison, you'd get like 2 weeks of beautiful fall, but then everything, like, you'd get a cold snap, and everything would just turn brown and rainy and fall off the trees. And you'd never get, like, that was it, like 2 to 3 weeks of fall. I never had better falls than I did on the East Coast. Like, East Coast fall wins, like in Virginia. Maryland and Virginia. I lived in Maryland for a year, and I was always going out to Virginia for dog stuff to visit a breeder out there who's a friend of mine, and it was just freaking gorgeous for weeks. For weeks, you got weeks of fall. I was like, oh, this is what fall's supposed to be like. And I've never had that kind of prolonged fall since. Right, in England, so it might as well be 2 feet when you've got an inch or two of snow. Right, yeah, I feel it. Same was in Texas. Like, you got snow and people, like, went nuts because they just didn't know how to drive in it or to, like, survive in it. Like, everybody would assume it was an apocalypse, and all the frozen pizza aisle would be completely sold out. There we go. Now the foot's getting a little more definition. That's looking a little better. Yeah, maybe it is the weather satellite. Yeah, I was not impressed by Texas falls. Texas springtimes are wonderful. Absolutely gorgeous. Spring is definitely the season for Texas, in my opinion. Fall for the East Coast. Spring for Texas. Summer for Wisconsin, because every other, season is terrible. And then out here, I'm getting to really like winter out here, actually. So I might have I might have a separate season for each state I've lived in. It's taken me a while to figure out which season I like the most out here. But like Yosemite in the winter is wonderful if you ever want to go to Yosemite. I mean, yeah, cold, but like you can go up higher altitudes and snowshoe. It's like not busy in the park at all. You still get to see all the beautiful sights. Sure, it gets a little rainy or a little snowy, but you can also get lucky and have beautiful days. And it's not super cold. We had so much fun on our winter trip to Yosemite. Right. I was a little bit amused, like not really, really amused, but just a tiny bit amused when I saw that we had a cold warning, a freezing temperatures warning for California out here for tomorrow and Saturday. And then I looked at it and I'm like, in Wisconsin, this would be business as usual. But it's just like, different states. What different states are accustomed to, right? There we go. Now I'm finally getting, man, all of the musculature and bone in this foot is really elaborate, and it's just like, it's taken me forever to start dialing it in. It's your favorite 2 days of the year, exactly, Kuro. Yeah, like it's supposed to get down in the 30s here for tomorrow and the day after, and that's like unheard of out here. But it's like business as usual in the Midwest. Like it would actually be a nice winter day in the Midwest. But I got an emergency alert for it, and I was kind of like raised my eyebrows and went, "Huh." Let's see actually if it's still active, if they still think it's going to be. It was pretty cold this morning. Let's see. Do we still have a warning? Not as much of one. Seems like it's shifted a bit. It's still going to be in the 30s, but it's not going to like get down to freezing overnight. Or maybe they got laughed at when they put that out as an alert. They took it back. Whoever sent that out had his boss go, "What?" Like his boss is from, Illinois, and was like, "I can't believe you put out an alert for that." Or Minnesota, or Michigan, or Wisconsin. Right, exactly. Like your warm weather is California's state of emergency. It's kind of funny. I I know very well that I'm super spoiled for climate out here. Like the fact that I can run comfortably year round in this state and not have to deal with like snow and ice. Yeah, it gets hot in the summer, but I'd rather always have heat than cold. Yeah, exactly. Oh well, California life, hashtag. That's why people still move to this state. No matter how weird it is, California still has great weather. And we got a lot of scenic awesomeness. Bring in a little bit of a purple shadow here on the bottom of this calf muscle. They wait for you to refill it. Mine wait for me to refill the seeds. Although when we were gone on our vacation, it was empty for a long time. It took him a couple days. Although I've kind of trained the goldfinches, I think. They like, I swear they keep a scout out there for when I refeed it, I do it. They're like, you're gonna stay here until she refills it. It will happen. And then you must report. I turned off our fountain for the winter, but I've been refilling the bird bath. The fountain has gotten a bit old and it's a little bit splashy. I need to it just throws its water out a lot faster and I hate having to refill it all the time. So I'm gonna let it sit until we get a little warmer and then I'll turn it back on. So those purple shadows are really where you bring in definition, and if they're in a more lit area, then you want to make them a little more subtle. Hot baths. Yeah, seeing it past the rain, exactly. Yep. So just bringing in more of those purple tones for shadows and definition here. Maybe on the bottom of the feet I want to give it a little bit more red tones too. Gonna bring up a little bit of red here. Oh, that's cute, girl. Yeah, mine aren't quite that. Like mine'll stay at the feeder when I go out on the back on the side porch. But if I get too close, they will not stay. Just getting a little bit more red in here. And I'm making the heel more red just for fun. Yeah, at least if you're using boiling water, it'll stay. You know, it won't freeze right away. I could see doing that. There, a little bit of red on the bottom of the feet helps to add color variation and interest. Don't worry, Keeks, we're almost done. You can have your walk in like 10 minutes. I think I need more green in there. But yeah. Darkening it down a little bit so that I can bring it back up, but with more targeted highlights. I want to bring it more up on the outer knuckles there. Oh yeah. Yeah, robins were pretty brave in Wisconsin too. Then we had a ton of robins in the spring. The one thing I miss um, from being when I was working at the credit bureau, we had a pretty tall building up in, especially for the area of the town we were in. We are kind of on the upper outskirts of the city, and so we were really the tallest building anywhere around. And there were very rare days where chicken hawk would come and just like float on the thermals that were coming up the sides of our building when the sun was hitting it, and hunt, because we had a little park next to us. And I'm sure there were rodents and smaller birds. So the hawk would just be floating like right outside of our windows. It was just really cool. It's the only good thing about working at that company. Oh yeah, the fish tank heater. Yeah, yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's a good strategy. I've heard about people doing that. Our bird bath is so little because I've got the fountain also. So I have a very small stone bird bath that's low to the ground. But it's so little I don't even think there's room for a heater. And the birds throw the water out of it too fast. Like it wouldn't even if we got cold enough to freeze, it wouldn't, because the birds would be like they'd have already tossed the water out of it. I think some of the bigger, like the towhees, like love to get in there and take baths, and they just like totally like spray the water. I swear the level just disappears overnight. Yeah, that's looking a little better, a little better. Getting there. Let me do a little bit more highlight on the knee here. A little less green over here, I think. I understand now how married couples can start sleeping in separate rooms. Because while David's been sick and coughing, I've been sleeping in our back guest room. And I've been sleeping so well. Because there's no husband waking up, and turning over and waking me up. There's no dog getting up to move around, in the middle of the night, waking me up. I'm totally not going to stay there, but part of me is just like, dang, I get it now. Got a little bit of a zit here on the leg that I didn't get before. Almost time, Keeks. We're almost there. Mama wasn't too late today, so. we can knock off after another couple of minutes. I just want to finish that highlight. The leg's looking pretty decent. I feel like there's still work to do. But in general, yeah, there's still work to do, but I think it looks pretty good. So if we zoom out, now we've got a leg. And that means we just have one more leg to do. And we'll be done with our green and we can start really focusing on everything else. There were a lot in Wisconsin. There are a lot of chicken hawks in Wisconsin. I'm surprised you haven't seen any turgeon, but you do live if you live more of in a suburban or built up area, you probably wouldn't see them. I don't know, I remember seeing them from a distance. When I was a kid, we lived more in the country. We were in a suburb, but it was like right on the edge of undeveloped farmland. So I saw a couple when I was a kid, and then got a close-up of that one up in Madison. But yeah. Oh, stretching. Oh, I'm so sore. So sore from all the CrossFit and everything. I have messages from Kara. This could be good or bad. We won't know until we look at them. Kara's like that. She's like Schrodinger's meme. You never know how bad you're going to get memed until you actually open the text or the email. Alrighty. I think I'm going to call it there, guys. I think I started more on time today. And we went a little late yesterday. So thank you all for tuning in. Tomorrow we're on Drunk Gandalf. Drunken Gandalf. That's right, we were going to go really dark purple. Really dark. And that's right, we're sculpting the mimic. Oh, maybe we'll sculpt tomorrow then. Maybe we'll keep sculpting and do the eyes and the teeth. What do you guys think? Should we? If I'm in the mood, it depends. Like, I might feel like painting. If I feel like painting, we'll start highlighting the really black purple here. And if I feel like sculpting, we'll work on the mimic mouth. Oh, yep. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you all. Thanks for coming. Oh, yawnies. Yawn attack. Sorry. Didn't mean to yawn attack you. But I hope you all have a lovely day. Tomorrow's Friday. Clap, clap. And I'll think about whether I'm going to stream on Saturday or not, since I don't have a Quindy. All right? Have a good one, everyone, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. I hope you have a great day. Bye.